Alright y'all, welcome back to Benton Homestead. We spent a long day yesterday beginning tomato overhaul. Let me show you what we did and where we're starting today. Right behind Benton Guest House here, this is our neighbor's property and she is letting us use this land and she has asked us to expand this year. At some point, we'll improve the looks of the backside of our guest house, but for now, those two windows open to the kitchen, so guests can look out the kitchen window and admire this garden when it looks nicer in the spring, summer, and fall. The biggest thing that we're doing here is installing some drainage. So we've had these pipes set aside for a while. They were found on our neighbor's land also. Evan dug a ditch here and put the pipes in. He's going to put some holes in those. They're going to collect water and bring it out this little hole here into the community rain collection system, and then it will flow out to the ocean. A brief explanation as to why this field, along with many of the other abandoned fields and fields that have been converted to farmland and citrus, have things like this built in, is that they were former rice paddies, and the rice paddies have a really intricate and really cool system for flooding and draining the rice fields. But for our purpose and for our neighbor's purpose, the most important thing right now is drainage. And I will tell you that this section of our field last year, this row here, as well as this second inner row here, got way too soggy during rainy season and even beyond. So everything we planted in those two rows in this back section died last year. Of course, another thing that we can do to prevent root rot and drowned plants is to add soil on top. So everything that Evan dug up in order to bury this pipe, we've added directly onto this garden bed here. We do have some experience dealing with wet land and how to work a garden around that. From our time building our homestead back in New Orleans, we had very soggy soil that would turn into a small pond when it rained. For those of you who know, New Orleans is built below sea level, and our neighborhood that we lived in there was one of the ones that was the most flooded and devastated during Hurricane Katrina back in 2005. That's way before we lived there, but the same problems still existed when we lived there from 2016 to 2021. Our solution at that time with that situation was to build raised beds. And while it was a wonderful solution and it worked perfectly for us, we are not going to go the formal raised bed box route here, but we are going to build this soil up, which is essentially the same thing. You might remember from a previous video that I brought some panels of wood over from the guest house garage, and we had a bunch of recycled cardboard laid down here, which is where we're going to build our next rows. That had been there over winter to kill the grass below, and the cardboard was still in good enough shape that I was able to bring it over here as the beginning weed barrier of our pathways. We didn't have any weed barrier down last year, and it was manageable, but we are always trying to get things easier and easier every year. So we'll put these down. Eventually we'll put wood chips on top, and that's going to make the weed maintenance even more manageable. So the new rows that we're looking to add here will not be the same length as the first ones. They're going to end a little bit early, so they're going to be about 3/4 as long as the other rows that we have. And that's because, of course, this is our neighbor's property, and she's got this nice little arrangement of plants here. These are flowers and flowering trees. We plan to add some more flowers here, build this up a little bit, add some pollinating plants, and it's just a nice little break from the rest of the garden. I'm waiting for Evan to get back right now, but I think the first thing we're going to do when he gets here is go harvest more bamboo because I used all the poles that we had set aside. So we need to go to the neighborhood bamboo spot and collect quite a few more before I can get started. You might remember from another previous video where we harvested some bamboo poles in preparation for this. These are the sturdier ones and they'll be used for the tripods of the new rows. Alright, we got 35 new poles. Let's see how far we can get on those horizontal crossbars. We've got some guest stars in this video. Brought Bosco over since it's a nice sunny mid-March day. Koto is his half-sister, so we brought her over to visit too. Some of you may be being introduced to Koto-chan for the first time. She is one of the first 4 puppies, the street dog puppies, that we caught our first summer here. Koto-chan is the daughter of Hime-sama, who is Bosco's grandmother. If you're unfamiliar, we did make a video pretty early on with the street dogs. You can go check out the Nora Inu street dog video that I made back then. I'm long overdue to make some more videos. We've since caught a total of 7 puppies. 6 of them, everyone except for Koto-chan here, who was adopted by our neighbor, 6 of them went to the lovely dog rescue here on the island called One no wa Ōmishima. Then we also caught Hime-sama and got her spayed. I'm going to keep an eye on Bosco though and not keep him here too long. Sometimes he gets a little overwhelmed. How you doing, buddy?
One of the conditions for our neighbor letting us use her land is that we save all of her beloved hana okra, which in English just means flower okra. I assumed it was just a type of okra that was grown for its flowers, but it's actually a separate species and it's a perennial. So it kind of grows like an asparagus. And so I've been digging around where we tend to rototill tomorrow, trying to find all the roots I can. And I'm going to put them and bury them in some soil for safekeeping before I replant them.
It looks like a treasure hunt over here, hunting for the hana okra roots. Well, here we are after a brief intermission of a few days for some more heavy rain and wind. But today it seems to be holding off, and we are back to it. Right now Evan is tilling that patch where the new rows are going to be. The recycled cardboard mulch worked perfectly, killed almost all of that grass. We're tilling it in, and again, if you haven't watched our videos, we do intend to be no-till in the future. There's an expression for one final till, I can't remember what it is, but this will be our till here to break up the soil, and then from here on out we will be no-dig at this garden. I may not be able to do much filming outside today because of the wind. I'm filming here from inside the guest house to keep that wind interference down. But I'll do what I can and bring you guys along on this journey with us. I am glad that with all the wind we've had the last few days, our cardboard here, with the exception of that one piece, has stayed down really well. Well, folks, just like our last video was delayed a bit because of the rainy weather, this video has been delayed because of the unusual wind we've been having. It may not look super windy out there, but it's enough to make all the windows rattle in our house, and it's also enough to mess with the microphone in my camera. We were just having a conversation with a new island neighbor and a friend of mine. We've been communicating over email for, gosh, going on 2 years now, as she was looking for property in the area. And she had some great suggestions for us for improving our videos, specifically the audio quality, as she has worked in this field for most of her life. So that was a really helpful conversation. We got to see her beautiful new house, and she had some pointers for us as well.
Well, the weather's really warmed up the past couple of days, so all we have to do left on these beds is get the ground all leveled up, and they'll be ready for the seedlings, which are currently sprouting in our makeshift greenhouse. So thanks for watching with this video, getting our spring beds prepared, and join us this Sunday for our live stream where we're going to be talking all about honeybees. Well, that's the lunch bell, so I'm going to go grab some onigiri. Join us next time on Benton Homestead. She'll let you pet her. You might try that. Oh, there's the bite.